Hi guys, I saw Rant put out an Exoprimal tier list, and I've been playing a lot of Exoprimal. I thought it'd be interesting to kind of go over the tier list and basically review what their thoughts were, so to speak. They break it down into like three ranks: the best of the best, just shy of greatness, and above average, which kind of alludes to the fact that none of them are just like actually really bad, I guess. However, they kind of like argue against that with this statement. In Exoprimal, players are only as good as the exosuit they're wearing, which suggests if you don't play in a good suit, you're just gonna be bad at the game. But I think that's just like flavor text, just to like catch your attention, right? Although it's possible for pilots to freely walk around during a war game, they'll find themselves quickly outnumbered by a horde of hungry dinosaurs. To survive Leviathan's testing grounds, players will need a lot of firepower at their disposal. Thankfully, a series of protective exosuits have been crafted. Yeah, we know about this. Exoprimal's exosuits each come with their own unique set of skills and abilities, making them a valuable asset for both imposing Leviathan AI. I think this is just more flavor text. Following Exoprimal suits tier list takes a look at the current state of affairs. By the way, at the time of recording, the game has been out like 2 days and we got a tier list. Let's see here. To give players a better idea which class they may want to cling to in order to survive, right? So they break it down again into like SAB, SAB, with Krieger and like the S tier. I don't remember all of the names, but it's interesting. They've got more notes below, so let's look at them. There are currently 10 exosuits for players to hop into an Exoprimal. Thankfully, all of them are serviceable, and as currently stands, there isn't any exosuits that are inherently bad. Thank you for clarifying. I agree. There are not any that are actually just bad. That said, there are still clear standouts for the group, as well as a few that are in need of a buff or see a higher skill ceiling than the counterparts. I don't know about buff, but I definitely feel like some have a higher skill ceiling. Just briefly, like Vigilant, the sniper, one of my favorite characters. I think this is one of the characters where it's like these two, to be honest, maybe even this bottom tier. Like, if you're not good, or you're not doing good, it kind of shows. But that's just my opinion. Developers plan to add a heap of new variants to suits, yes, with alpha variants coming in August. Variants to drop early next year. While these new variants will definitely change the game and expand this tier list, there's a current look at Exoprimal affairs. I'm looking forward to these variants. Like there's a variant of this one, Deadeye, that has a shotgun. Very cool. The best of the best. There are currently 4 exosuits that occupy the S-rank: Barrage, Deadeye, Nimbus, and Krieger. All stand above the competition as the best of the best. Here's a look at what each class has to offer and why they command there's such respect in the battlefield. Barrage, which is this guy here with the explosives, is an AoE heavy dinosaur culling machine. His array of explosives makes his exosuit capable of quickly laying waste to hordes of lesser dinosaurs, like raptors. He's capable of high single target damage as well, thanks to his overdrive ability, which sees him flying missile style and exploding to deal massive damage to large targets or rival players. A good barrage can clear the battlefield quickly and provide heaps of area denial and pressure against enemy players. I mean, he does have a stun grenade, which is pretty cool for the PvP. I don't think I see him a ton on the battlefield. I think his rate of fire, like in the beta, I think his rate of fire was worse than it is in the full game. It's not as bad now, I think. He's not a bad character. He's not one of my favorites. It's hard for me to say whether like I would put him in S tier, but I would imagine he does do lots of damage on single targets like Triceratops, Ankylosaurus, that sort of thing. Deadeye, the all-rounder, one of my favorites. Deadeye is the ultimate beginner-friendly damage-dealing exosuit. Players that look to hop into a simple and straightforward dinosaur culling machine should put Deadeye at the top of the list. His assault rifle is good for applying damage to both small and large dinosaurs, and his included rifle grenade provides a small, solid AoE. It's a very good area of effect. Honestly, that grenade is very good. He comes equipped with a dodge to avoid trouble, he does, yeah, as well as a palm attack that pushes back enemies, and his overdrive ability has him unleashing a machine gun salvo that's fantastic, clearing hordes. So yeah, his overdrive ability is really good. I like it. It does tons of damage. His palm attack is like not great, but I think it's purposely designed. Like it's literally just a get off me raptors, like, you know, like that's it. It's not really a big part of his toolkit, and I think that's by design. Like, I find myself almost never using the thing. Would I put him at an S tier? He's very good. I think he's very accessible. Yeah, I think he's very accessible. I think it's hard for me because if I was to make a tier list, it would be which characters are, I would say, the easiest to get the most out of. But that would be, you know, the same thing. Like, I would agree in that none of them are inherently bad. They're definitely not. I just feel like some are easier to pick up and get maybe a bit more out of, or like some have a higher skill ceiling. Just comes back to that, really, I suppose. And I would probably agree that like these three are that. But this is not my favorite healer, but we'll get into that later. Krieger, my favorite. Perhaps the best tank currently in the game, Krieger is capable of sweeping the battlefield of small prey thanks to his hefty minigun. This massive weapon helps suppress and push back enemies, but it does require a bit of time to cool down and is susceptible to overheat if used too much. Actually, there's a perk in the game, and I've upgraded it to max, and it reduces reload time and charge, I think, by 20%. I don't actually know if that applies to Krieger's cooldown, but if anyone knows, if you could just tell me in the comments, I'd actually super appreciate that, because I play this character a lot. He can fire lock-on homing missiles, I love those, to paralyze targets in the area, and is even capable of dodging thanks to his thrusters. You can also like dodge into groups of raptors, which is kind of fun, but his dodge, in my opinion, is like his weakest skill. But again, I think it's like, it's sort of meant to be. It just sort of like, it's just a little bit to like take the edge off, but it's not his primary like piece of his kit. His reflective dome shield will keep smaller mobs at bay and can even stun large dinosaurs, yeah. Although it will break if a large dinosaur comes in contact with it. It's especially helpful for protecting teammates from rival players. Oh, his overdrive is powerful too, as it calls a barrage. I actually like his explosive, his overdrive. What I like to do with it is on the escort the cube mission, the whatever it's called, data block, whatever. I like to hold on to it until like the last 10%, you know, when the PvP kind of like begins to come together, and just drop it on my opponent's team, so I can just get them off the cube, and like we can keep advancing ours in that amount of time, so I can just like deny them from it. That's what I like to do with that. His shield is pretty nice. The thing I like about his shield is a similar thing, like I like putting it over the cube to make it more difficult for the enemy team to assault us, like attack us from a range, while we continue to push the cube. Another thing I really like with the dome is the hammer. There's a mission where you have to charge up the hammer and you slam it down on a control point thing, like a tower. If there are only like smaller dinosaurs around and Krieger's got the hammer, or even if somebody else has got a hammer, putting a dome over the bubble just pushes out all the raptors and all that, so the person with a hammer can just slam it. So I really like Krieger for that as well. I think he's definitely an easy character to pick up. His missiles are great as well, honestly. The fact that you can fire his missiles while firing his minigun, I love it. So you just like, oh, pterodons, bye. I think, did I miss Nimbus? I did. I glassed over Nimbus, my mistake. I'll go back to that one. I think he's definitely a character that is easier to kind of get the most out of. You know, has like a lower skill ceiling perhaps. Like yesterday I got 5 MVPs in a row with this character. I would probably say this guy as well, and Deadeye too. Like these 3, fairly easy to pick up and just like get the most out of. There are some skills and such which are a bit more situational. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but I feel like we're about to read Nimbus, but spoilers. Nimbus is probably the healer I play of the 3. In fact, I know she is, but I don't think she's the best healer. I think the best healer for healing, not necessarily like the best character overall, but the character who pumps out the most healing is going to be Witch Doctor, in my opinion. I feel like I like Roadblock, but sometimes there's just times where it's like, okay, well, there's not much I can do in this given situation. Like, for example, yesterday I switched to Roadblock like between missions, and the very next mission was like pterodons, and it's like, oh, well, I don't know what I can do with that. There's other times where like we've got like the 2,000 swarm of velociraptors coming at us through this like canal of rocks that's like not very wide. But they put up this like barrier, the game does, so like you can't go too far forward, but it's like just enough distance that the shield doesn't really do much. I do think he's a good character. I think he's a good character in PvP. Overall, I think he's a good character. I do like having a roadblock on the team, but sometimes there are some things that feel a bit situational, which is kind of my problem with Muramasa. It's just how often I see people throw out the counter, like the counter shield. So if you don't know, you have to take so many hits from enemies to build up the counter, and then you get an attack buff and a big attack and whatnot. But there'll be like not many velociraptors around, or they'll just like activate it and just stand there, but they won't get the counter. So to play, like, I guess I'm like min-maxing, but to play the most efficient, you really want to pick the times when you throw out that counter. Basically, when you see like an enemy coming charging at you, like a Triceratops or a Pachycephalosaurus or something like that. But then I also don't play that character very much. I do like Vigilant, one of my favorite characters, but I do feel like she's a very PvP centered character. Like she lacks on swarms, you know, like velociraptors and whatnot. Big targets, single targets with big health bars. Like we're talking Pachycephalosaurus and upwards. Like that's where she shines, and the PvP obviously. Unfortunately, there's a lot of swarms. Her ice is good. There's a perk I've got on her where you have like 2 charges of ice, I think. But that's if you don't miss with the ice. And even when you do throw out the ice, sometimes you can get unlucky and it's like, oh, I only hit like a few enemies because one got in the way or something like that. Wow, that was loud. Yeah. Alright, let's go back to Nimbus. Nimbus is the best support exosuit, thanks to her ability to heal allies while also dishing out damage. I mean, she can't do damage and heal at the same time. That's the whole thing. Like, she has 2 guns, and they have a heal mode or an offensive mode, and you have to swap between the two, and there's a cooldown to do that. There is a perk you can get which reduces the cooldown to like 1 second, which is like, you know, next to nothing. It's normally like 4 seconds, but you can reduce it to 1. But technically speaking, she can't heal and do damage at the same time. This exosuit comes equipped with 2 guns that are capable of swapping between healing and damage modes, meaning she's able to defend herself while also healing her teammates at range. She comes with a tricky hologram. I have no idea how this hologram works, to be honest. From what I understand before I read, I'll probably learn more about this, but basically she throws out the hologram, it dashes forward slowly, it doesn't attack, and you can teleport to its position. But I don't really see much use for it. She comes with a tricky hologram that lets her confuse enemies, escape harm, and teleport, as well as a barrage attack that can see, like, that doesn't really, actually doesn't teach me anything. Escape harm, yeah, I mean, yeah. But I don't know. I guess it's like Krieger's dash. It's just like, it's the weakest part of her kit, but I think that's by design. As well as a barrage attack that can damage or heal depending on what mode the players are in. That's actually a good attack, that one. Her overdrive unleashes a shockwave that will also heal or damage, making her an incredibly versatile unit in the right hands. Yeah, her overdrive's pretty nice. It's just this huge wave that heals and damages at the same time. We were doing Krieger, right, roadblock, not load block, I'm just gonna hydrate, because damn, this is a lot of reading. Krieger's dome shield and suppressive firepower makes him a more useful tank overall, but roadblock still offers some utility, especially when used as an off-tank. Although he's a pure melee exosuit, he's capable of putting up a large moving shield that can also push back and stun enemies. He can even taunt dinosaurs, making sure he holds their attention, while other players make short work of them. His overdrive seems to create a large tornado that will pull enemies close. It can be activated again to launch away. Yeah, his overdrive's nice. It's good on swarms of velociraptors, and I think it's good on PvP as well, to be honest. His shield is obviously good in PvP. I think that's probably where it like shines. And obviously swarms of velociraptors and triceratops and whatnot. But yeah, his lack of any range, I guess that's the trade-off for having like the most health in the game. Not much to say about him, other than what I said already. I do like him. I don't think any of the characters is inherently bad. I just think some of his abilities are a bit situational, or his character overall is. But yeah. Zephyr, another melee-only exosuit. This has got the lowest health in the game. It's a lightning-fast damage dealer that is capable of dishing out some serious damage to both small and large dinosaurs. His kit gives an impressive movement ability, and it's slow down. I couldn't hear. With swift dodges, a damage-dealing kick that will pop him into the air, and a thrusting attack that covers a lot of ground and strikes hard. His overdrive overloads his system, making him faster, more deadly, and reducing his cooldowns dramatically. Zephyr is a fantastic asset to help clear mobs and be quite strong when attacking rival players. His lack of sustain and range makes him semi-reliant on a good healer, and he's quickly dispatched by focus fire and stuns from any players. Yeah, a stun would put him down, but I don't see many people doing that. In my experience, I think the fact that his health pool is like just so small, most people just shoot him to death, in PvP at least. He's a fun character. He's basically in PvP he's like a rushdown kind of a character. Like he'll like assassin / rushdown. He'll find like those enemies that are like by themselves and just like or like dash into the back lines and just like take out healers, or he does like he's really good at killing velociraptors. Like he's really good at that. He could do good damage on larger dinosaurs like Triceratops, Ankylosaurus and whatnot. But he will be killed in like 2 hits from them. So yeah, he's the glass cannon, is Zephyr. Witch Doctor, dedicated support. Witch Doctor is a straightforward healer that employs both single target healing by way of their feed ability as well as an AoE healing circle. Now let's talk about this real quick, right? Let's go back up one before we're gone. So this character, I didn't mention this earlier, this character Nimbus has to aim at the people she wants to heal. This guy doesn't. He just puts down like a big area of effect. And that's not a complaint. That's like me just saying, damn, that's actually really good. That's really potent. You can just pop it down and not even like worry too much, you know? Whereas this character has to like aim. And this is a game where characters are moving around a lot. Like Zephyr, lowest health in the game. He can dash twice. Imagine trying to aim and hit that, you know? I think Nimbus's guns have a small homing effect to them, but it's like negligible. Like you barely even notice it. Like I actually don't even know if it's a thing. But yeah, they can dodge enemy attacks with leaping skill and can actually paralyze small enemies and players with a close range neuro rod, which is actually not bad. The overdrive ability is especially useful as it will completely heal allies, increase their defense for a short time. Ooh, I did not know that. And even hinder enemy player movement if they're nearby. I did not know that either. Witch Doctor is an exceptional healer, but they can't dish out damage like Nimbus can. It's true, they can't do the same damage that Nimbus can, but they are the best healer in the game, like hands down. Above average. Right, well, last 3 characters. Vigilant, another one of my favorites. I'm not very good with this character, but I like them. The de facto sniper, Vigilant offers superior range to her exosuit counterparts. Unfortunately, she has a higher skill gap due to her aim-heavy kit. Yeah, I agree. Which includes a charging sniper rifle that dishes out more damage when fully charged up, with a variable zoom, as well as high-powered laser shot that provides AoE. Yeah, that is really powerful, and piercing damage. She also comes equipped with a frost lock throwable that will freeze enemies on contact. I've seen this like not freeze things though, like I would throw it at like a Triceratops when it's like just come out, but I think that's because it's like technically still on the end of its like summoning animation, like not when it's come out of the ball, but like on the ground and it does a roar, and I think that's still part of its like summoning animation, so that's why the frost doesn't work. It also works freezing enemy players. I actually forgot about that. It can be set up as a trap on the ground. Oh, I did not know it could do. I didn't know that could happen. That's good. freezing anyone who walks into it. Her overdrive ability overloads a gun, making every shot fully charged shot for a short duration. This will be great for dealing damage to large dinosaurs or taking out rival players. Vigilance shines on a single target damage dealing exosuit, but it's outclassed by other damage dealers with superior AoE and pressure. I have to agree with that. She's a very situational, as I mentioned before. She suffers really bad from dealing with like swarms of dinosaurs, and almost the whole game is swarms of dinosaurs. But when it comes to larger individual targets like other exosuits, like other players, or just like Pachycephalosaurus and up, like that's where she works. Skywave is a unique support that is capable of keeping her allies healed and dishing out decent damage to dinosaurs. I actually don't know what her damage is like, to be honest. Her main weapon shoots rays of exploding light that will damage enemies and heal. Oh gosh. There it is again. I'm talking too fast. Her main weapon shoots rays of exploding light that will damage any enemies and heal any teammates. So I haven't used this character in a long time, since like beta 1, open beta 1. Because I think there's a closed beta and then 2 open, I think. But that sounds not bad. Like, if she throws down like this little grenade-like explosion, I think, that does damage and heals at the same time, that's good. She also comes equipped with faux blinding optics jammer that will also heal her allies. I should try this character out more. Her main gimmick sees her take to the sky for a duration to avoid harm and rain down damage and healing from the air. She's also capable of providing solid crowd control thanks to a graviton cage that pulls foes inward, and her overdrive, which sees her activate an AoE burst that stops all enemies, slowing actual players for a short period of time. I do like her ultimate. I think it combos well with Krieger's ult, or basically like on Murasama's ult. Yeah, no, it's a nice one. It's a good one. I should try this character out more. I was originally kind of put off because I'm not a big fan of the idea of having to juggle staying in the air while healing damaging. But I might just like stay on the ground and only go to the air sometimes. See how that works for me. Don't know. I'm planning on doing like weeks of playing a specific character. So if you're watching on Twitch, we'll be playing like each character for like 2 hours straight or something like that, and then uploading it into like broken down videos. So we're gonna actually like, I'm gonna push myself to spend the time with each individual character. Here we go. Slash plays Skywave can be incredibly useful, but works better as an off healer. I wonder. I'm not sure. Murasama. Although Murasama has potential to dish out decent damage, she's outclassed by Roadblock and Krieger when it comes to tanking dinosaurs and protecting the team. Yeah. No, I can definitely see that. That's something I haven't really considered. Murasama has the ability to draw the attention of dinosaurs with his taunt, but in terms of putting up shields and barriers, he can't do that. He works much better as an off-tank, as he doesn't actually have any shielding methods. Like Roadblock, he can taunt using his Crescent Moon ability, but it's not nearly as intuitive as his bigger brethren. His grappling hook allows him to pull himself quickly to enemies and other players if landed, and will give him the chance to perform an extra jump. That's 3 yards in this video. Or a downward thrust attack. His main bread and butter comes from his parry ability, which soaks up damage from all angles. And again, his parry, I feel like I see people just throwing out there and just wasting time. Like they're just not getting the parry because it's just not the optimal time to do it. So they just stand around, just not doing anything. Which soaks up damage from all angles and allows him to perform a counterattack. If he manages to absorb enough damage during a parry, he will receive a small damage boost for a short duration. Fortunately, Murasama's lack of range, lack of shielding, and reliance on parrying attacks gives him a higher skill ceiling and less utility than both Roadblock and Krieger. I would agree with that. Yeah, let's go back up here. So if this is like ease of use of how to get the most out of a character, you know, I'm kind of agreeing with this tier list, which is something I didn't expect me to say. I'm not sure about Nimbus though. That's one I want to look at. So definitely Krieger, and this guy, yeah, for sure. I think for me it comes down to a lot of like who's more situational, who's less situational. In that case, Roadblock, yeah, definitely an A. I'll put Zeph in an A purely because like he can get dropped in 2 hits from the bigger dinosaurs, and if you don't watch yourself, like you're gonna die. You're gonna die with him. Great character though, overall. Witch Doctor, I would probably put Witch Doctor in A. I haven't used him enough to know like how situational he is, but I mean his stun rod, his neuro rod, you don't even have to aim. You just like wave it in their direction and it goes out and does the thing. So you basically don't have to aim. He has like passive AoE heals. I would probably put him in an S rank, to be honest. And maybe put Nimbus in an A, because again with Nimbus, technically besides her ultimate, you can't heal and do damage at the same time, and you have to aim at your teammates to heal them, which is a bit. Skywave, I'm not sure about the B. I just don't know the character well enough. But as I said before, I'm not a big fan of like having to juggle staying in the air while doing my other skills. That's a bit too much for me. Like, look at me. I like Krieger and Deadeye. Those are like 2 of my best characters. Like, and they're kind of brain dead. Vigilant, definitely in a B. I really love the character, but yeah, very situational. And I would put a B on Muramasa as well, mostly because he's a tank who doesn't have a shield and the counter. I see people throwing up counter and they just don't get counter, and they just stand around doing nothing. And yeah, so that's it. That was an interesting video. I feel like I agreed a lot more with it than I expected, to be honest. But if you enjoyed this, please leave a like, follow the channel, and check me out on twitch.tv at DelinquentGhost, where I'll be streaming more content of Exoprimal live to the internet.